I feel I have things to say. So I turned down my camera to help myself say them. Desire. Desires within me seem to have found satisfaction by merely allowing, surrendering, and truly letting go of what I have thought was necessary, what I deemed important, indispensable in the past few months. And only in retrospect do I notice how remarkable it has been. So for most of my adult life I have had a job that gives me an income, a steady enough income to support my own human living expenses, covering expenses such as rent, food, health insurance, snacks, travel, clothes, occasional entertainment, and so on. And I have long struggled with the letting go of this work and job. And I've been wanting to let go for quite a while because it has been a few years already since work did not feel correct, did not feel aligned with what I truly wanted to do. And yet it felt scary. I felt afraid of letting go of a job, of this steady income. Mostly because of the financial reasons. How shall I pay my rent? How shall I pay for food? How shall I pay for everything? And yet in the process of a year, I began to just slowly, gradually let go of things. I was working 80% of the time, 80% full time at a job in robotics, and I gradually felt stronger and stronger that it was no longer my place to be there. So there was a period of like two or months when I actually quit my job, but then I actually came back at a reduced rate, at a 50% rate, for a few extra months. But letting go was an original, like I really did let go, and then I kind of grasped on again at a 50%, and then eventually I truly just like, okay, I really did let go fully. And then a few things started happening. First of all, it was right after after the first letting go and after the first grasping as well, when I met Edie's at a dance event. Unexpectedly, full surprise, we began dancing together, and suddenly we just knew we enjoyed each other's hugs and company and smiles. And it felt fantastic. And eventually we began engaging in quite a quick friendship, and then afterwards a sexual and romantic relationship between us, which felt wonderful, delicious, cozy, comfortable, like home, and fun, and sexually fulfilling and open, and it felt delicious, it felt amazing. There was satisfaction in this desire, of my desire of sexuality. And further on as time passed, I still had the job, and I let go of that. Even I let go completely of my work. Then after that, even for good measure, I even let go of my apartment. I felt heavy with all the furniture I had, and I felt like it's ow. Like it was not time for me to have so much furniture anymore. All of this furniture is not mine. All of this furniture is rented. So I let go of my furniture, I let go of my apartment. And just after that had happened, I met another girl, Selena. Unexpectedly. And I was actually quite frustrated at myself, because it turned out that she lived in the town where I had just left my apartment from. Where I had just left my apartment. I still lived there, in that town of Elg. But I was about to move out. In those days, I confirmed that I was about to move out. And right afterwards, I felt a really strong connection with her. A very harmonic connection. I could really like to continue exploring that. So I felt quite frustrated that I had just left my place at Elg, and now I meet this girl. Frustration. But then as time passed, I began engaging also with her, and we began developing also quickly a deep friendship, and then romantic and sexual relationship. And it was wonderful. It was delightful, fulfilling, comfortable. Much resonance between us. And then I found myself engaging with both of these partners alternately and openly in sexual and romantic ways. And I very openly told each of them, look, this is happening with the other person, and they were like, okay, yeah. I acknowledged. Um, and it was the case at the beginning that I would want to tell one of them about the other, or something that had happened, or that I wanted to see the other person, or that I had a great time with the other person, and there was this fear in me about making one of them either jealous or hurt or angry or causing conflict unnecessarily. But I realized how freeing the truth really is. How freeing it is. So this long story, only what I'm trying to say is, when I let go of all these things that I thought were indispensable, that I was afraid to let go of, I found fulfilled a desire that I wasn't even sure that I had, and very related to a fear as well, which was a desire of multiple partners, a desire of being able to share my love openly. And this desire was very mixed up in or blocked by this fear I had. This fear of oh, I'm with one of them right now. Can I bring the other one up in conversation? Can I think about them even? Can I even make plans to see the other? How does it feel to hold these two different loving relationships within me at the same time? Can I have my focus on one of them and not feel guilty about having taking it away from this one, or when I'm here feeling guilty of wanting to go over here as well? So I've been experiencing those fears and those apparent dichotomies, and eventually realizing, no, wait, there doesn't need to be any dichotomy. It's both are occurring. There is no breakage of anything. There is no deceit. There is no untruthfulness. There is no lack of integrity, I believe. All engagements are done in a very truthful manner, and I feel liberated from this fear I had of sharing my love with multiple people, but at the same time with a huge desire about it as well. It was just hidden. I didn't even realize it was there until I was having it. And then I realized, can I really have this? This is amazing! Wow! And what I'm pondering on is how serendipitous the timing feels. Because it is just as I'm letting go of everything that these connections come to me. They truly come to me in my life. And I'm able to enjoy them, delight in them, experience them, learn from them, truly open myself up a little bit more. Most recently, past that dichotomy I had between, oh, is it here? Is my focus on love here, or is it here? Or is it here? And if it's here, then Can it go anywhere else? Or does it need to be constrained in this little channel? I believe I'm in the process of learning that it does not need to be constrained in any particular channel. I can allow my love to flow. And that is wonderful. Desire, finding satisfaction. Moreover, I find that following the recommendations that the human design system tells me, I find satisfaction. I find satiation of my desires, of that deep desire I had even forgotten that I had. Because yes, I don't want to feel constrained. If I love something, I want to love it. If I like something, I want to enjoy it, delighted in it in the moment, and then share it. Share about it with other people, not need to hide in any sort of way. And I really love this. Love this openness. And as has this been occurring, I also observed that this deep desire, having found its object of desire, it's having found some satiation, there's a part of me that feels a lesser drive towards many things, towards most anything. I find myself with less spontaneous energy, or less spontaneous impulse in any case, to do anything. It's been a few weeks and there are times when I do nothing these days. There's of course the situation that I can, because I don't have a work to go to. But also there is some part in me that usually, even in completely empty days, would come up with some enterprise, some idea, some spontaneous or creative whim that I would want to manifest. And these days it seems that something in me is just calm, tranquil. It does not come up with specific impulses. Certainly not as frequently, or perhaps even at all. And that has felt concerning in the past few weeks. Part of me has been feeling afraid, did I lose my drive? Am I able to act, to manifest, to initiate anything anymore? Am I interested in anything? And I'm exploring that. It feels like something inside of me is reconfiguring. It's reevaluating priorities. Because perhaps this deep desire having been satisfied. Whoops. Monitor turning off again. This deep desire having been satisfied, perhaps it doesn't contribute to the drive it used to. So I wonder, is there a desire now that provides impulses to me? Is there another desire in me that will provide me with such impulses, with such spontaneous impulses that I can just then ride and react to and act upon? Or am I simply, or are my spontaneous impulses simply diminishing? So that impulses will no longer be the reactive prerogative of my desires, but rather a conscious intention from a deeper part of myself, from the conscious aspect of myself. Not a desire that pulls me, but rather an inner force that I move towards any direction that I will. It feels, if that is the case, it feels that it's a movement in the direction of self-determination. As in, my movements, my actions, my inputs to the world will no longer be dictated by desires within me, or thirsts within me, or lacks, feeling of lack of this, lack of that within me, but perhaps will be driven by conscious choice. When I think about it, I'm not sure I know how that feels. I'm trying to remember whether I ever have acted purely on behalf of my own conscious choice, or whether every single action in my life has before been driven by reactive desire. I wonder, and I continue to wonder that. It seems that have I ever acted on pure conscious choice without having a desire to guide it? I do not know. If that is the case, and it is conscious choice that will produce my actions from now on, or more than before at least, I hold a hypothesis that I will need to learn how to transform conscious choice into emotional impulse. Because I believe that so far in my life, I have depended on my desires to create emotional impulse in my life, which then makes the waves that I ride on, the energy waves that I can use to propel myself in this life. And if desires will no longer do that, and my emotions remain calm and tranquil, then my emotions need something else to move them. Because as my current hypothesis of the human psyche goes, physical actions are impelled by emotional impulses. At least emotional impulses have the power to produce powerful physical change, physical action. I wonder whether my action needs to be powerful, or can it simply be small and subtle? Perhaps both. Perhaps I can learn to bring my conscious choice and project power through my emotions, and perhaps to project simply fine changes to the world. I wonder. My conscious choice. And what will I choose? How do I guide my choice if not with desires as I have in my life? It is intriguing. I understand at this moment, however, the importance of one's emotions being calm and tranquil when producing conscious choice. It is in such a state when conscious choice can be truly my own. In any case, this is what I ponder these days. Having let go of the things in the world that I knew did not fit me, but I still clutched onto reactively, such as a steady income and a job and a direction and a known direction in life, I found a path to satiate a deep and strong desire that I had within me that I didn't even remember. I also followed my human design strategy of waiting for the invitation, and I was invited, and I accepted what felt right, giving enough time. I'm learning to open up my love and not to have it constrained into narrow channels that hide from one another. I'm learning to dissolve these unnecessary frameworks around my love. And beyond that, having fulfilled a deep desire within me, I wonder whether this satisfaction of this desire has diminished the spontaneous impulses that I have been accustomed to feeling throughout my life. And I wonder whether that is causing me to change, or that will bring me to change my modus operandi from one that bases its actions on reactive desire, on desire that is seeking something and that acts from lack, to a new paradigm in which I base my actions upon conscious choice. I have the hunch that it is the latter. And that I will be gradually exploring more of this part of myself, of my conscious choice. That I will be discovering and exploring how to project this conscious choice, this true choice, onto the world through my emotions. Perhaps both with and without my emotions. Although I do holding hypothesis that actions are more powerfully produced with emotions. I wonder whether I will learn to control my self, the different parts of myself, more effectively by doing so. For if a part of my desire has been satisfied and perhaps cleaned, resolved, can I now focus on manifesting my true self through my conscious choice? Untainted by desires held hidden in my bodies. This is what I ponder. And this is how I end this talk.